Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Here, our property address 4566 Southeast 20th Terrace here in Gresham. Located just off to the left of the front doorway. This thing is just barely around the corner. And I describe everything as if you're standing in the street, this is kind of an awkward one because we're on a little bit of a turn here, but facing the front of the house. So to the left of the doorway, straight out from the corner, here's a 3-inch ABS cleanout. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is currently running. We are zeroed out here. Off we go. I had some hot water running there. Get the steam cleared out of here now. I apologize, normally I've got an auto leveling camera head. This one, with my wireless system, I cannot manually flip the screen around, so it doesn't bug me, but I know that's kind of weird for the average person to look at. Alright, looks like we're transitioning right on that turn there over to PVC. See if we can, I hopefully get a little better glimpse at that as we come back out. It's hard to see if there's a diameter change. It's about the spot where you'd expect to see the line bump up to 4-inch. And we may not see that till we get a little further out. The line transitions over to green PVC here in a moment. So we've got some grease and sludge in the flow line, some debris. That's that junk my camera is scraping off the pipe bottom there. We'll see how that looks at the end. Sometimes my camera goes through and oh, there we go. Yeah, it looks like that's probably where the line swapped to 4-inch, because this is where we're terminating here at the main lateral. Coming into it upside down, so it looks kind of funny, but all right, we're gonna go locate really quick while the line drains out. We'll have a better look at everything on the way back in. Thus far, the line itself is looking good. I may recommend some cleaning on it. Alrighty, so as you kind of look at the house from the street, the line heads toward the driveway. Your best vantage point, kind of imagining where this thing is at here, is if you're out in the roadway, just to the left of the driveway and the curb, you can see where there is a curb port for your downspout, one of those holes in the curb for your downspout to drain through. The line looks like it's crossing the curb right around that location. Where I located the main lateral, lines up almost perfectly with that downspout port there. So it runs toward the driveway, but it turns and heads out of the street before getting underneath it by a bit. And thus far, we're not looking too bad here on the grease. My camera scraped a lot of the flow line free. Getting a little thicker in here, though. Yeah, back in here, it's still relatively thick. It's kind of in and out. And I'll go backwards here in just a moment into the house to see if we've got much of that going on there. Come back in here, the line is getting cleaner and cleaner, which is often an indicator. And now we're starting a little bit more. But sometimes, depending on how people wash their dishes, if you're a household that, they wait for the water to get really piping hot and always wash dishes with really hot water, it's not uncommon at all to have a pretty clean interior pipe, and about first 15, 20, 30 feet. As that hot water cools down, though, once it gets into that underground pipe on the outside, it starts to harden up. And that's what you have here. You can see how the interior line and the ABS pipe, by and large, are very clean. It's a very thin little skip of grease, but hardly anything to think or even talk about. Most of it's built up in the PVC. So, for a house that's putting grease down the line, that's honestly how you want to do things. You want to keep your water running hot. It does a great deal to help keep that stuff melted and emulsified. I'm going to recommend cleaning on this one. It's thick enough in the PVC I'd like it to see cleaned. It's not a nightmare situation, and not the kind of grease buildup that would just be causing blockages all on its own under proper usage scenarios. the kind of grease you have there is the kind that might hang up stuff, you know, wipes, paper towels, flushable wipes, things that are improper from going down, they go down the line. And or if your kids are wadding up huge balls of toilet paper and flushing those down the line, you know, it can sometimes slow that stuff down. But if you've got something that's already getting close to blocking or is big enough to block the line, you know, that could be kind of the final pinch point that gets it stuck in there. And it does sometimes create for more stubborn blockages that don't break loose naturally on their own, which happens a lot more than people realize. Lines block and break free, especially when you have kids in the house, fairly frequently. You know, you block your line up with some balled up toilet paper, the line fills up for a few feet behind it, and it's enough to break it loose or disintegrate things. The combination of the two often take care of stuff. When you get grease in the line, though, it acts like glue. It also gets impregnated into paper products, and it doesn't allow them to disintegrate properly. So it can create for a situation where a blockage is a more stubborn scenario than it should be. So I'd like to see it clean, but not the end of the world if you don't. It's still a functioning sewer line as it sits. And the good thing is pretty much all the grease starts about 25, 30 feet out from the house. And the further and further those things get from the home, the least likely they are to actually cause a blockage. If you had that level of grease build up in the first little bit of the line and going back into the interior, it'd be a much more concerning situation and one that's much more likely to result in a actual sewer event like a backup. So anyway, all the pipe we scoped here today, all of it is in good shape and intact. Other than some grease build up there in the latter half of the line, great looking sewer line. It is functioning at this time. It will have it will have proper flow and functionality. It'll mitigate the blockage risk after cleaning, but this is still a pretty nicely functioning sewer line as it sits.